Hi everyone, welcome back to another flashlight video. Wurkkos was kind enough to send us out their new HD03 clip light, which you see before you. And man, is this light packed with all kinds of cool features. It does a lot of amazing things, has a lot of different modes and features. And for such a small, versatile size, it's pretty cool. So real quick, I'm gonna go through all the specs on this light. I'm gonna show you a lot of things and the features that it does. And we'll also go ahead through the UI, and we'll probably make that pretty short and sweet also. And then we'll take it outside, test how it does in the dark with night shots or beam shots. So before we get into all that, real quick, let's go ahead and see what you get with this light. So I'll put this on screen to make it easy. You do get the user manual. You do get a USB-C recharging cable, as this is USB-C rechargeable, and you do get a lanyard. It's actually 2 lanyards, and I'll show you that in just a moment. Real quick, the user manual, I'm going to go ahead and put this on screen. It's quite a large user manual, mainly because it's in many different languages, but I'm going to put the English part on screen for you guys, so you can take a screenshot or pause the video if you like. So this is segment 1, segment 2, and now segment 3 of the user manual. So you guys can go back, pause the video, take a screenshot or whatever if you want to read further about this light on the user manual. So real quick, let me go ahead and show you the lanyard I was talking about. So you actually get 2 lanyards in there. You get a small one that attaches to the actual light itself, and then you have this other one so you can take it on and off, and it just clips on here. If I can do this on camera, okay. So it just clips on there like this, so you don't have to have this massive lanyard always attached to the light. You can just attach the little one here and then clip this on and off as you desire. And I'll show you a picture showing you how this can be used as it clips on. You can hang it. And it also has a magnet. So this actually has a magnet on the back right here. Sorry about the autofocus. So there's a magnet right here. So you can actually attach this to like your refrigerator. Let's say you lose power, you need light, you want to use it as a lantern, you can. You can also attach it to the hood of your car. So you could use it at night to look at the engine if you need to do something like this. So there's just a lot of different versatile ways to use this light as far as attaching it to things or carrying it. So real quick, let's go ahead through all the specs here on the HD03. So this light is capable up to 680 lumens with up to 8 different lighting modes. So I'll put that on screen. It's pretty amazing. It features a TIR lens, as you can see here. It has both spotlight and floodlight. So you can see right here, you got the spotlight in the middle, surrounded by all the floodlight LEDs. And it has 20 plus RGB lighting modes. And this flashlight itself, the body of this flashlight is actually available in 3 different colors. So we have the green one here before you, which you see, but it's also available in orange and blue. So you can do that also. Has a dual switch design. So instead of going through a UI or hitting the switch on the side many times to switch between spotlight and floodlight, you actually have a manual switch right here. So right now it's in it's in spotlight. If you flip it down, it goes into spotlight. So pretty easy to switch it back and forth. It's not very complicated, making it really easy to use. And over here you have the switch to turn it on and off. And you also does have a LED indicator in there. It tells you when you're charging it, it'll be red when you're charging it and green when it's fully charged. And also when you turn the light on, it will also show you the status of the battery. So I'll just turn it on real quick here so you can see that. So you can see it's green right now. So real quick, green, it means your battery is between 50 and 100%. If it's orange, your battery is between 20 and 50%. And if it's red, your battery is between 1 and 20%. And you're probably going to want to recharge it before you do anything so the flashlight doesn't conk out on you. This, the HD03 is made of aviation grade aluminum alloy. So this is not plastic, this is all metal. So very nice. It does have this rubber thing on the clip, so it can, my autofocus helps here. Okay, you can see the rubber there, so it doesn't slide off when you clip it to things so easily. Has a little bit of a grip on there. So I like that. Let's see. Now this is IPX6 waterproof. So IPX6 means it can handle heavy rain or water jets from any direction. So this will be pretty darn versatile as far as going outdoors in the inclement weather. So you shouldn't have any problems with that. This is also impact resistance up to 1.5 meters. So if you drop it from 1.5 meters, it should survive just fine and not have any issues. And the other nice thing is this thing has up to 36 hours of battery life. So if you put this in moonlight mode, which is 1 lumen, which is the spotlight mode, you got 36 hours of runtime on this one small little light. So that is pretty darn amazing if you ask me. Now it also has, before we start showing you the RGB lighting modes, this also does have strobe, SOS, and beacon, and just the normal white operating modes. So be aware of that. And this does have smart temperature control. So if it gets too hot, it will step down to prevent itself from frying its components and breaking. So very good for safety there. So real quick, before I go into the chart here, which I'll put on screen about the different lighting modes and lumens and how long they run for. Now between July 2nd and the 7th, they're offering 45% off on their website. I'll have the link in the description. And so you can save a lot of money on this light. So if you really like this light, you're really interested in it, maybe not only just for yourself, but for maybe a family member or friend that could use something like this, definitely going to want to check that out. So real quick, let's put this on the screen. So Spotlight, we're going to go through Spotlight first. So Moonlight, 1 lumen, 36 hours. Low, 20 lumens, 7 hours and 40 minutes. Medium, 110 lumens, 2 hours, 10 minutes. High, 320 lumens for 1 hour and 20 minutes. And then you have Turbo, 680 lumens in Spotlight for 1 hour and 10 minutes. Now they don't say what the brightness levels are for strobe, SOS, and beacon. From my eye, it doesn't look like it is the full 680 lumens, but it's pretty high. It's at least 320, probably the 500 or 600 lumens. So just to make you aware there. Real quick, the floodlight. So when you're in floodlight, in moonlight, again, it's also 1 lumen, but runs for 35 hours. Low in flood is 15 lumens for 5 hours and 30 minutes. Medium, 75 lumens for 1 hour and 50 minutes. 150 lumens in high for 1 hour and 20 minutes in floodlight. In turbo floodlights, 320 lumens for 1 hour and 10 minutes. Now the max throw on this is 180 meters. That's going to be when it's in spotlight. And the max intensity of this light is 3,500 candela. And the temperature of this light is between 6,000 and 6,500 Kelvin, just so you know that. So real quick, I'm going to set up here so we can go through the UI and I'll show you all those really cool RGB light modes. Okay, the UI here, or user interface on the Wurkkos HD03 clip light. So the first thing you want to select here, and I showed you this earlier, is whether you want it to be in spotlight or floodlight. So right now I have in spotlight, but if you wanted to move it to floodlight, you just put the switch down. So pretty easy to remember which mode you're in by just taking a look or feeling it. To turn the light on and off, it's a simple 1 click, and this works with whether you're in flood or spotlight, obviously. So you turn it on and you turn it off, so pretty easy there. Now, once you turn it on, if you want to cycle through the different modes of low, medium, high, and turbo, you just hold it down. So you're in low to begin with, in medium, high, turbo, and then back to low. And let's go up to high. So real quick, this unfortunately does not have memory, so that was in high. If I turn it back on, it's just back in low again, so FYI about that. It does not have memory, but it's pretty easy to cycle through. And also another thing I wanted to show you, let's say you have it on, but you really need to be bright really quickly. You just double click and you go straight into the turbo. And you click it again, you're gonna go back to low. And I don't know if it will go back to the mode it was originally in if you double press and then turn it back. Yeah, there it seems to remember what mode you're in. So that's interesting. So if you double click into turbo, if you're on high or something and you click it back off, it seems like it remembers that mode. I don't know why it didn't remember it earlier when we were just cycling through and turned it off and on. So that's interesting to know there. All right, so Moonlight, pretty easy. Moonlight's available again both in flood and spotlight, or spotlight and flood. So you just hold the button down for a moment and you go into Moonlight mode. And then if you hold it down, I think you're gonna cycle into normal mode, so you can get out of Moonlight mode. But it won't probably remember Moonlight mode, so just FYI there. Now you do have a lockout mode here on the Wurkkos HD03. So to lock it out, you're just gonna, it's electronic lockout, so you're gonna triple click it. It's gonna flash. If you try to turn this light on, it's just gonna flash, let you know it's still in lockout. So to reverse it or take it out of lockout, you're just gonna triple click. And you're out of lockout. So you're good to go. All right, so strobe, SOS, and beacon. So this is a strobe warning for anyone that might be sensitive, so just be careful there. So you're going to turn the light on, and then you're going to triple click. So again, strobe warning, so triple click when the light's on. You're in strobe, very, very bright. Okay, and then if you press it just one time, it just goes back to normal mode. So let's go back into strobe again, so strobe warning. If you double click, you're going to go at SOS. Double click again, you go into beacon. And to get out of those special modes, you just press the button again. You go back to your normal modes. So pretty easy there. Pretty easy probably to remember too. Now the RGB color modes. So from off, you're going to double press the button. Now you're in RGB. Now some of these modes you can actually select the different colors. So right now we're in a purplish color. But if you hold down the button in this mode, you can actually change the color. So blue, going to green, yellow, orange, red, back to pink, like a pinkish color. All right, so if you double click again, you're going to a slow strobe or a slow flash. Double click again, you go into your red and blue beacon, and it will just keep alternating back and forth. This could be good for safety. Let's say you're hiking or biking and you want people to see where you are. You can put this in the back of your backpack or something and keep people abreast of where you're at by warning them with this light. So pretty cool there. Double click again, you go into what they call a full color flowing mode. It's just going to go between the different colors and just keep changing those. So hopefully you can see that on camera okay. Click it again, you're going to go into what they call red, blue, and green flowing. So hopefully you guys can see that in the camera. I don't know if I should have just turned my light off. Yeah, it's probably too dark though. All right, double press again, you get this gradient. They call it gradient meteor. And then if you click it, double click it again, you go into what they call gradient breathing. So hopefully you're seeing that okay, but it's going to go through all the different colors and just do a slow ramp up and down. And if you double click again, you have gradient single light mode. I think it just goes through all the different colors. And now if you double click it again, you're going to go back into strobe. If you just click it once, you'll go back to the original setting here. We have this purplish color. And again, I don't know if you guys can see that on camera okay. Maybe I should have done that way so you guys could see it better. And then to get out of that, you just turn it off. And if you click it again, it just goes back to your normal modes. So pretty easy there. The UI is pretty easy on this flashlight. But again, I really like the size of this thing and how it can clip on and also has a magnet. I mean, the size of it is really, really amazing. So anyway, as I said, I'm going to try and make this video pretty short and sweet. But again, they are having that special from July 2nd to the 7th. So just keep wise of that. And anyway, we'll take it outside and see how it does in the dark in the beam shots. Okay, the night has finally come here. And we are outside here with the Wurkkos HD03 clip light. And so we're going to start out in spotlight mode, and we're going to start out in moonlight. And so I'm going to try to go through this rather quickly because the bugs are out and they're biting. So I don't want to be out here too long, but definitely want to go through all the light features on this real quick with you and the different settings or modes, or brightness levels, I should say. All right, so first we'll start out in moonlight and spotlight. And you're not going to make out much on the camera here, but I can see pretty well. It's definitely, if I was in a very familiar area, I could probably get around okay. And again, if you're just wanted to read in a 10 or for light discipline at night or something, pretty easy. I can actually make out the bird bath over there, but you guys can't make it out on the video right now. So let's jump out of moonlight and let's jump into low, which is 20 lumens in spotlight. So this is 20 lumens. You can just make out the bird bath there, which is about 45 feet away from me. Again, 20 lumens, got a pretty long runtime, 7 hours and 40 minutes, but definitely make out more than obviously with moonlight. Let's bump up to medium, 110 lumens. So now 110 lumens. Definitely reaching out there. I can see the stump all the way out there, right there. That stump's over 100 feet away from us. So very good. Let's jump up to high, 320 lumens. 320 lumens definitely doing a good job. You can always see all the way up to the tree line out there. And let's bump it up to turbo, 680 lumens. So doing really nice. You can see the trees out there really, really well. I'll turn that off. We're going to flip it down into floodlight, and we'll go through those moods really fast. We'll start out with moonlight, just like we did with spotlight. So moonlight, not as bright. It's not going to be as punchy as the spotlight, obviously, because the spotlight has more throw. I can just barely make out the bird bath, but not so well. Definitely, I would say moonlight and spotlight's definitely a little bit brighter and more punchier. All right, so let's jump out of moonlight. Let's go to low in floodlight, 15 lumens. I can see really well on the ground. I mean, I could definitely walk around very easily with this, even maybe in an unfamiliar area. And just make out the bird bath there. Let's jump out into medium and floodlight, 75 lumens. Now I can definitely see the bird bath. And you can see a bit more out there. And bump up to high and floodlight, 150 lumens. And then turbo, 320 lumens. All right, now I'm going to put it back in spotlight. I'm going to take a walk out there at the full turbo, 680 lumens, and come back here, and I'll try some of the RGB modes and see how that looks. I just bumped the camera. All right, let's try this again. Okay, sorry for my bump of the camera. My foot caught the tripod just as I went out. So anyway, a little technical difficulties. But hopefully you got to see how that looked turbo and spotlight as I walked out to the tree line. And what I did is I wanted to put on the beacon, one of my favorite modes in flashlights, just so you know. So if you were, let's say, you wanted to use that as a marker to help people see you visually and, you know, maybe not run into you or whatever, if you're walking or hiking or riding a bike or something, you know, just check your local laws, make sure you're good to go. You could use that mode. So I wanted to highlight that there. Also, I did the RGB modes at the end. The camera has a hard time with the ISO picking up the different colors. I can tell you visibly with the naked eye, it's quite bright from a distance. I mean, if you were using one of those modes, you wanted people to see you visibly as you're walking around and these kinds of things, or riding a bike or whatever. I think it does really, really well. And all the different RGB colors and modes are pretty awesome, and you can play around with a lot of those and change the colors and such. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to say a big thank you to Wurkkos for sending out the HD03 to the channel here to show us. And just one more reminder there, they're having that special sale, 45% off from July 2nd to July 7th. So definitely check that out if you're interested in this light. Save some bucks for your pocket, which would be good. And again, thank you again. You guys take care and happy living.